各位观众朋友，大家好，欢迎来到2019年 China GT 中国超级跑车锦标赛的比赛现场。那我们现在所在的呢是宁波国际赛道，这条赛道呢也是 China GT 第一次来到这条赛道，它总长度呢是4.01公里长，一共是有22个弯角。但是这条赛道一个非常独特的特性呢，是它的有非常大的一个高低起伏，一共呢是有24米的海拔差距。所以说，对于我们今天的车手和车队来说呢，其实是一个全新的挑战。那么大家可以看到，今天在我身后一共是有15台 GT4 的赛车来到比赛现场，他们来自7个不同的厂商制造商，这也是我们 China GT 成立以来竞争最激烈的组别之一。那么大家可以看到，在我身后这台86号赛车是今天的杆位车，他们是来自 Extreme Motorsports 的车队，然后2位车手呢是卢思豪和林康。那么卢思豪和林康呢，这2位小将也分别在17年和18年都参加过 China GT 的比赛，所以我们也是非常开心能够看到2位车手在2019年回归 China GT 的战场。Hello and welcome to the 2019 China GT Championship for round 3 of the GT4 Class races. We're here live at the Ningbo International Circuit. This is the first time for China GT to visit this circuit actually, and it's 4.01 kilometers long. It has 22 corners. But it's a highly technical circuit as it's really highly undulating with 24 meters in elevation change. So it should be quite the challenge for quite a lot of the drivers and teams, especially for those who are here for the first time today. As you can see lining up behind me, they're all together 15 cars ready to take the start. And they're represented by 7 different manufacturers. And it's one of the most competitive grid here in China. As you can see behind me, this bright red Extreme Motorsport KTM car number 86 is shared by Lo Tae-ho and Lin Kang. So both of these drivers have made appearance in China GT in 2017 and 2018, and it's fantastic to see them back on the China GT grid for the 2019 season. So the grid is now formed, and we're getting underway for the first of the 2 60-minute GT4 races here this weekend. So now let's have a little chat with Lo Tae-ho, the pole sitter for today. 好的，那现在在我身边的呢，就是今天的杆位车手，来自86号的车组的卢思豪。那么思豪呢，去年也是驾驶这辆 KTM 赛车，在上海收官战的时候获得了2连胜。今天的话，回到 China GT 又是拿到了杆位，心情怎么样呢？
首先心情很开心，今年可以再回到 China GT 这里比赛。然后车子的发挥也很好，然后车的设定啊，车队提供的东西什么都很好，然后就希望今天第一场比赛稳定发挥，然后因为后面我都是 Pro 的 driver 嘛，然后就希望可以有力跟他们拼一下吧，然后就尽量把车安全交到我队友身上，然后就希望可以顺利完赛。首先，
好，谢谢思豪。So Tae-ho just told me that he's very happy to be back in China GT for the 2019 season. The car is fantastic, the team did a great job with the setup, and his job is to bring the car back safely to the second stint starter, Lin Kang, who's the pro driver. So they want to just do their best and hopefully achieve a good result today. 好的，谢谢思豪。那么接下来的时间呢，我们看一下上一回合雪邦站的精彩视频。Okay, next up, let's take a look at the highlight videos from last time around in Sepang. 那么现在在我们身边的呢是来自魅影车队的车队老板谢安。那么谢安，我们现在魅影车队呢也是2019年第一次参加 China GT 的这个比赛，但是现在的 GT4在GT4的积分榜上已经遥遥领先了。今天也是在头排发车，今天的话有什么期许呢？
对，我觉得。我们现在在积分榜上确实是领先了，但是我们一年一个赛季的比赛有12个回合，我们才刚刚进行了2个回合，所以我觉得要拿下全年的一个锦标，现在还为时尚早。我们能做的就是把每一个回合的比赛给跑好，然后待会儿我们是宁波站的第1个回合，我们拿下了发车位的第2和第42个发车位。我希望我们第1棒的2个车手可以发挥出应有的一个水平，然后我认为我们可以以前3的成绩来回来。
好的，谢谢谢安。So standing next to me is Mr. Chris Chia, the team boss for Phantom Pro Racing, who's joined China GT for the first time in 2019 season. So Chris just told me that even though the team is leading in the GT4 team standings by a huge margin, but it's still a long game to play. We're only at the 3rd round of the championship, of the 12th round championship. So they need to sort of bring the car back safely and safe and steady. And they're starting from P2 and P4 today, so it's a great result. So they're hoping to be able to have a good race and finish on the podium. 好的，那接下来的时间我们转回到我们的解说间。Over back to you guys.
Thank you, Andrea. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ningbo for round 3 of the 2019 China GT Championship. We've got GT4 action for you this morning. There we see the Ningbo track, a very tight, twisty technical challenge for the drivers. 4.01 kilometers long, but 22 turns and 25 meters of elevation change. And you can see in your picture there just how much higher that twisty back section of the track is than the rest of the circuit. There we see 23 turns in this Ningbo circuit, the Ningbo International Speed Park, to give it its full title. And a real selection of tight, twisty corners there. A very technical track, quite narrow as well. It should be quite difficult for the drivers to pass. Speaking to some of the drivers yesterday, they said the best chance of overtaking was getting a good line out of the corners onto the long straights. You can see the long straight. This is the very technical back section of the track. That's the highest part of the track, which a lot of the drivers said was like going around a go-kart track before they exit turn 23 there across the start-finish line, and turn 1 kink there. And the left-hander at turn 2 should be a good overtaking point, as should the tight left-hander at turn 7, just leading onto another complex of corners at this Ningbo International Speed Park. 25 meters of elevation change. A lot of the drivers said it was like barreling around a go-kart track, and you can see there not a particularly wide circuit. So a very technical challenge. Nick Yellerly, the BMW driver, told me yesterday that in the rain there's a lack of drainage, and the rain does tend to stick on the ground somewhat, but no rain forecast today. And here we see the championship standings. Rainy He and Sunny Wong currently leading after a win and a 2nd place last time out in Sepang in Malaysia. Alex Fontana and Chris Chia, who we just heard from on the grid there, in 2nd place after a win and a 3rd place. And in 3rd place, Will Bamba and Liao Yang, followed by Liu Kai and Wei Tianyi, and then Senan Fielding and Kenny Chung in 5th place so far in the championship. We had 2 rounds so far this season at Sepang, around about 6 weeks ago in Malaysia, the first time that the China GT Championship has taken in a round outside China, and a spectacular weekend of racing it was. As we heard from Chris Chia there, the team boss of the Phantom Pro Racing team, and also the co-driver for Alex Fontana, the Swiss pro driver. So he's got 2 hats to wear this weekend, that of driver and team boss. And his team really dominated last time out in Sepang, winning both races and already with a handsome lead in the team standings. Here we see the rest of the Drivers' Championship standings for GT4. In 6th place, Yang Shi and Yan Chuang. 7th equal, Robert Webb and Eric Wong. In 8th, Yi Volt and Stanley Yang. 9th, Oscar Lee and Yuan Hao Yao. And 10th, Dominic Ang and Anthony Chan. On pole position for today's race, Ling Kang and Lo Tse-ho, the first driver we heard from on the grid. As we look at the rest of the GT4 drivers' standings, in 11th, Simon Chan and Jeffrey Zi, 12th, Wu Pei and Zhang Fangshuan, and 13th, Xu Jia and Mitch Gilbert, who will not be competing this weekend at Ningbo. Looking on the grid, there you see the 86 car of Ling Kang and first, Lo Tse-ho, qualified on pole position with a time of 1:49.531. And Lo Tse-ho, the AM driver, will be taking the first stint of today's race. You see the mechanics, engineers and everybody just clearing the grid now, and that Mercedes AMG pace car with its indicators flashing in the center of your picture, ready to take those cars round on the formation lap. We'll have one formation lap around this Ningbo International Speed Park, during which time you'll see the cars weaving from side to side, trying to desperately get some temperature into those tires and into those brakes, and also the drivers just getting a feel for the car, just making sure everything is ready for the 1 hour's race that is about to unfold. In the same way that you might see a footballer just going through the motions, passing the ball around before getting ready to play the game, so these drivers like to just get a feel for the car, make sure everything is as it should be before 1 hour's hard racing around this circuit in Ningbo. There you see the cars just peeling off the grid now. The 86 KTM Crossbow in pole position, leading the field away, followed by the number 5 car of Chris Chia and Alex Fontana, and it will be Alex Fontana, the pro driver, who is starting today. And this should make for an interesting tactical battle, because of the Pro-Am pairings, we've seen a little bit of variety. Lo Tse-ho, the AM driver, is driving first in the 86 KTM on pole position, and he's handing over in the second part of the race to Ling Kang, who's the pro driver. So Ling Kang, in theory at least, should be quicker, well, should be the quicker of the two drivers. Whereas in second place, the number 5 Phantom Pro Racing AMG Mercedes of Alex Fontana and Chris Chia. Alex Fontana, the pro driver, is driving first. And in fact, in third place on the grid is the 22 D2 Racing Mercedes of Will Bamber and Liao Yang. And Will Bamber, again a pro driver, is also driving the first stint of this race. So we have in second and third places the pro drivers driving first, and the pole position man has the amateur driver driving first. So I wonder if we'll see Alex Fontana, excuse me, and Will Bamber making their way past Lo Tse-ho in the early part of the race. But then, of course, when we come to the pit stop window, which opens 25 minutes into the race and lasts for 10 minutes, during which time all the cars have to come in for their mandatory pit stops, then Lo Tse-ho will be handing over to Ling Kang, the pro driver, in theory the faster driver. Whereas Alex Fontana and Will Bamber will be handing over to their respective teammates Chris Chia and Liao Yang, who are the amateur drivers in those pairings. So in theory, Ling Kang should be faster around this track than Chris Chia and Liao Yang in the second portion of this race. But all that to look forward to, of course. 1 hour's racing around this Ningbo International Speed Park to look forward to. You can see the safety car there just leading the field round as they negotiate this very tight section of the track. A very difficult challenge for the drivers here. 23 corners around just 4.01 kilometers. And that really isn't a lot of track to have 23 corners on. So a very challenging track indeed. I spoke to many of the drivers yesterday who said how difficult it was. You see the safety car peeling off now, and the cars will form up side by side. And we should see the lights go green, and then we will be going racing. You see the lights. Watch for them at the top of your picture there. We go green, and we are racing in Ningbo for round 3 of the 2019 China GT Championship. Lo Tse-ho, number 86 car on your right, and just being squeezed out there. And it's a fantastic start from the 49 car. And one of the cars, that is Alex Fontana, just being pushed out wide there. Very difficult to negotiate all of these turns and everybody getting through safely. That looks like the 49 McLaren that qualified in 7th position. An absolutely lightning start from Simon Tao, who is at the head of the field now. The D2. The Mercedes there, you see, going through your picture, and Alex Fontana in the number 5 car has taken the lead from the 49 car, and up into 2nd position goes Will Bamber. So, as we might have expected, Alex Fontana and Will Bamber, the 2 pro drivers, have now taken the lead in this race already. So the 49 McLaren are just having a little look, but perhaps not quite close enough there. That strikingly liveried green and black McLaren in 3rd place and being challenged now, and that looks like the 618 of Yves Volt, the German driver, going up into 3rd place, another one of the pro drivers. So as we might have expected, the driver pairings with the pro drivers going first, immediately setting out their stall to attack and heading to the front of the field for the first portion of the race. The 49 McLaren there now down to 4th place after a lightning start, taking the lead. Lo Tse-ho in the KTM crossbow down in 5th position now, and challenging. Now that KTM is very, very quick around the corners, and there's an awful lot of corners on this track. So I wonder if we'll see Lo Tse-ho getting very close in the tight, twisty infield. But then the McLaren would tend to have an advantage, and you can see already how much of a lead the McLaren has pulled out just on that short straight there. The number 49 car. And Lo Tse-ho running a little bit wide there, and now under pressure from the 570 McLaren of Dong Liang, who's currently in 6th position in that white car, just behind Lo Tse-ho in the 98 red KTM crossbow. Very tight battle for position, with 2.5 minutes gone in this 1-hour race. Further down the field, that is the number 3 car of Yang Shi and Yan Chuang, who is driving that car at the moment. Lo Tse-ho in the 86 car coming through. Lots of bumper-to-bumper action early on here at Ningbo. And Alex Fontana still in the lead. Will Bamber still in 2nd position. In 3rd place still Yves Volt. Then it's the 49 McLaren. Then it's Lo Tse-ho. And Lo Tse-ho, it looks as if, has got past up into 4th position. So, yes, Lo Tse-ho now in 4th place. The 49 McLaren now down into 5th position. And being challenged and going through is the 570 McLaren of Dong Liang. So, the number 49 McLaren, which started so well, now down into 6th position and being challenged by the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes. That's the number 6 car, being driven by Rainy He and Sunny Wong. Rainy He driving that car at the moment. That car was 4th position on the grid, and now in 7th position. There is Alex Fontana and Will Bamber, using all of the road and a little bit more there, and as does Lo Tse-ho as he comes through in 4th position. In 5th place Dong Liang, and in 6th place the number 49 McLaren, followed by in 7th place Rainy He, down from 4th on the grid. 4.5 minutes gone here at Ningbo. And some interesting action in the early stages. Here we are further down the field. That is Kenny Chung in the Ginetta going up the inside. Does he? Yes, and he makes that move stick. So Kenny Chung now up into 8th position. Just going ahead of the BMW of Oscar Lee there, and going 3 abreast there. Some fantastic racing here. The 999 BMW. That is the car driven by Wang Hao, who doesn't have a teammate for this race, so Wang Hao will be pulling a double shift. Up now into 8th position, and the 51 BMW of Oscar Lee going up inside Kenny Chung in the 55 Ginetta there, down into 10th place. As they do a little bit of curb hopping there. In 11th place, that's the number 3 Mercedes of Yan Chuang. Difficult to keep track of all these cars that do look very similar indeed. The 619 Aston Martin having a look up the inside. And taking, does he? Yes, and the 619 Aston just going up the inside there. So that is Wu Pei in the Aston Martin up into 11th place behind Kenny Chung now. And the number 3 car of Yan Chuan down into 12th position as they come round the final series of corners onto the start-finish straight to start another lap here at Ningbo. This is lap 4. Still Alex Fontana in the lead, Will Bamber in 2nd position, and Yves Volt in 3rd place. And Kenny Chung there, they're going side by side. Kenny Chung just holding off the 619 Aston as Yan Chuan goes very wide there. And again, kicking up a little bit of dust on the outside. Let's see a replay of the start now. And you can see, look at the left-hand side of your picture, what an absolutely lightning start from the 49 McLaren, coming through from 7th on the grid all the way through. And Lo Tse-ho, the pole man in the red KTM, the 68 car, perhaps caught a little bit napping there. I don't think anybody expected the 49 McLaren to come all the way through from 7th on the grid to lead through the first corner. Alex Fontana settling into 2nd place there, Lo Tse-ho down into 3rd. A few cars using a little bit of the runoff area as they go through the first series of corners. And there we are, Alex Fontana. This, of course, a replay of the opening few corners. That's where Alex Fontana took the lead. And there we are now, the number 22 car of Will Bamber. And is that a problem? It looks like the number 5 car there, Alex Fontana, going very slowly. I wonder if, has he got a puncture? He's certainly touring in, and that is very bad news indeed for Alex Fontana, who had taken the lead, was leading the race. Now Will Bamber, the race leader, you see going past there. Yves Volt in the Aston Martin in 2nd position, and Lo Tse-ho now in 3rd place. And bitter disappointment for Alex Fontana and his teammate and team boss Chris Chia. We haven't seen that car again. It looks like it's gone into the pit, but it looks like there was some sort of problem. The car was touring in very, very slowly indeed, not going anything like racing speed. And Will Bamber, the number 22 car, the D2 Racing AMG Mercedes, is now your race leader, with Yves Volt in the 618 Aston Martin in hot pursuit, with 8 minutes of this 1-hour race to go. So the 2 leaders pulling out a little bit of a gap to Lo Tse-ho in 3rd position, but I should think Lo Tse-ho will be quite content with how things have gone so far. He is, after all, the amateur in the driver pairing. He's going to hand over to his driving partner Lin Kang, who is the pro driver. And I should think Lo Tse-ho's idea for the first portion of the race will just be to keep as close to these leading 2, to Yves Volt and Will Bamber, as he possibly can, to give his teammate Lin Kang a fighting chance of overhauling that lead in the 2nd portion of the race. The pit window opens at the 25-minute mark and closes at the 35-minute mark. So 10 minutes in which these drivers have to come in and make a mandatory pit stop. Those drivers who do not have teammates, they still have to come in for a certain length of time. I should think we will see Lo Tse-ho coming in more or less as soon as the pit window opens, so that his teammate Lin Kang, who is in theory the faster driver, can have the longest portion of the race possible to try to make up the gap to the 2 leaders, Will Bamber and Yves Volt, who I would expect to go quite long into the pit window and only pit towards the end, towards near the 35-minute mark in the race, because they will be handing over to their amateur drivers who shouldn't be as quick, and therefore they need to make up as much time now in this first portion of the race as they possibly can. Here coming through is the 570 McLaren of Dong Liang in 4th position, followed very closely by the number 6 car, driven by Rainy He at the moment, climbing all over the back of Dong Liang. Rainy He and his co-driver Sunny Wong, who will be taking over in the 2nd portion of the race, are the current championship leaders in the GT4 category, finishing 1st and 2nd last time out in Sepang in Malaysia. And Rainy He looking for a way past Dong Liang. It's very difficult to pass here at Ningbo. You can see the track is very tight, very twisty and quite narrow, so the best chance of overtaking is usually getting a good drive out of one of the slow corners before a straight, and seeing if you can blast past your opponent with a better exit. But Rainy He being frustrated at the moment by Dong Liang. It looks as if he's probably quicker, but he can't quite find a way through, and I don't think he's going to find a way through there. Dong Liang just pulling out a little bit of a gap as they go through the left-hander. With 11 minutes gone in this 1 hour race. This is lap 6, and Dong Liang still in 4th place. Rainy He still in 5th position in very close attendance. It looks as if Rainy He might be quicker, but catching is one thing in motor racing and passing is another thing entirely. But you can see Rainy He almost nudging the back of Dong Liang as they went through the tight left-hander there. But Dong Liang still holding firm as they go through the downhill section, the tight right-hander. This very tight, twisty section of the track. Rainy He looking for a way past, but can't quite find a way through. And nudging and going up the inside now. But again, Dong Liang has the inside line for the next corner as they go through the last corner. Turn 22-23 for another lap of this Ningbo International Speed Park. Dong Liang still holding firm in 4th place. Rainy He still in 5th position as they go through turn 2 and turn 3. The 90-degree double left-hander complex, where we've seen a lot of the drivers running very wide and using all of the road and more, with 48 minutes of racing still to go here in this first GT4 race. Round 3 of the 2019 China GT Championship here at the Ningbo International Speed Park. Still Dong Liang in 4th place, still Rainy He in 5th position. Good racing between these two. And further back, that is the 999 BMW of Wang Hao in 6th place. Overtaken the 49 McLaren on the previous lap. So the 49 McLaren of Tsai Meng Tao down into 7th place. An eventful race so far for Tsai Meng Tao, starting 7th on the grid. Made an absolutely lightning start to lead into the first corner, but now has gradually slipped back and now stays in the 7th place in which he started the race. The 999 car of Wang Hao in 6th position, having made up a few places. Wang Hao started 9th on the grid, and he's one of those drivers pulling a double shift, so he'll have to come in for his pit stop, and he won't be getting out and passing over to somebody else. He'll be doing the whole race on his own. So a tough morning's work for Wang Hao as they go through this tight right-hander. The 49 McLaren in 7th position. Just kicking up a bit of dust there as they go through the last corner. Being challenged now by the number 51 BMW of Oscar Lee. They go side by side down the pit straight, and Oscar Lee, it looks as if, has made the move. Yes, he's got the inside line for this series of corners. The McLaren not giving up though. And Oscar Lee ran a little bit wide there, and the McLaren goes back up the inside. Good racing between these two. Well, it looked as if Oscar Lee just got better drive out of the last corner, managed to draw alongside the 49 McLaren and take the position going through the left-hander at the first corner, but then ran a little bit wide, and Tsai Meng Tao managing to get the position back. Here we're looking now at the 999 BMW of Wang Hao in 6th place. In 7th position, the 49 McLaren of Tsai Meng Tao. And back down into 8th place, the 51 BMW of Oscar Lee. Nearly a quarter of the race gone, and some good action up and down the field so far. Lots of passing and repassing. And these drivers really giving the lie to the notion that you can't overtake at Ningbo, because we've seen plenty of close racing, wheel-to-wheel stuff so far. Still here looking at the battle for 7th position now between Tsai Meng Tao in the green McLaren and Oscar Lee in the BMW. Tsai Meng Tao going a little wide there, but Oscar Lee not close enough to take advantage. Sometimes there's more than one available line to take around a corner, and of course these cars have very different characteristics. 7 different manufacturers being represented in this race. Mercedes, BMW, Ginetta, KTM, Aston Martin and Lotus. And with very different handling characteristics. As Oscar Lee, it looks as if he's got a little bit of a run on Tsai Meng-Tao, maybe going for another look up the inside, but Tsai Meng-Tao not giving up. They go side by side. Tsai Meng-Tao holding the position, but I wonder if he's got a little wide, and Oscar Lee takes the position. So Oscar Lee up now into 7th place. Tsai Meng-Tao down to 8th. It looked as if he tried to hang it out around the outside of turn 1, the left-hander, but there just wasn't enough road, and he ran wide, and Oscar Lee shot up the inside into 7th position. So we'll see now if Oscar Lee can pull away. He was very close to the back of the McLaren for a couple of laps. It looked as if he was quicker, but just couldn't find a way through. And already you can see Oscar Lee, just a little bit of a gap developing between himself and the 49 McLaren of Tsai Meng-Tao, down now into 8th position. And before he made the move, I was saying how 7 different manufacturers, and there's another one of them, the KTM Crossbow, a very strikingly designed car. There are no doors on that. The windscreen pops open in a sort of gull-wing manner, and that's how the drivers get in and out. And the KTM is quite an interesting car. Very quick through the corners, very light car, but not so fast on the straights. And it's very interesting to see the KTM in a battle with a car like the Mercedes or the BMW, which are quite a lot heavier. They don't tend to go around the corners so well, but they do have a significant advantage in top-end speed. And that's what makes this category of racing, this GT4 category, so interesting. You have these 7 different cars from 7 different manufacturers, all with very different characteristics, which in theory should be balanced out over the course of a single lap, and indeed over the course of a 1-hour race. There you see the number 22 car of Will Bamber, the D2 Racing Mercedes AMG, still sitting pretty in the lead, a 1:51.378 last time. And in second position, still the 618 Aston Martin of E-Volt, up from 5th on the grid, and a spin there, and that is the number 3 Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes of Yan Chuang. A little bit of a spin there, and emerging just ahead of his teammate, and that is the number 5 car of Alex Fontana that we saw touring around after having been in the lead in the early laps. So Alex Fontana back in the race now and looking to make up for lost time. A bitter disappointment for the Swiss driver and his teammate and team boss Chris Cheer that they had to pull off the road so early with some sort of issue, but clearly back in the race and fighting fit now. Alex Fontana passed his teammate, and he'll set off in hot pursuit of the cars in front of him now. It'll be interesting to see how quickly Alex Fontana can catch and then can look to pass those cars ahead of him. He was driving very, very quickly in the first portion of the race. His last lap, a 1:52.8, and compare that with the 2 minutes 7.1 for his teammate Yan Chuang. So 15 seconds he made up just on that last lap alone, and that really shows you the difference between the pro drivers and those drivers who do this more for fun, more of a hobby, and then obviously have a day job during the week. It's impossible to expect them to be driving at the same level as those drivers who do this for a living. As we look at the battle now, there you see the 49 McLaren, followed by the 55 Ginetta of Kenny Chung, and the second KTM of Liu Kai and Wei Tianyi, the yellow car in the background. There you see it. Wei Tianyi at the wheel in this portion of the race, and Alex Fontana, that is looking for a way round, nearly getting Wei Tianyi there. I should think he'll get him on this straight. The KTM does tend to lose out to some of the other cars on top-end speed, and the Mercedes is one of them, and Alex Fontana moves up into 11th position now. So Alex Fontana in 11th place and challenging Kenny Chung, who is himself challenging Tsai Meng-Tao, who is in 9th place. Alex Fontana going past Kenny Chung into 10th position now, making pretty short work of the Hong Kong driver in the Ginetta. And let's see if he can do likewise to the 49 McLaren as they go through this tight, twisty section. Alex Fontana kicking up a bit of dust as he goes, or looks to go up the inside. But the 49 McLaren shuts the door. Of course, no obligation to let Alex Fontana go by. He's not being lapped. This is for position. He's perfectly entitled to try to hold his position. But I should think Alex Fontana will be coming through very quickly. You can see the Swiss driver flashing his headlights there, just letting Tsai Meng-Tao know that he's there. As we look at Fontana's teammate, the number 3 Phantom Pro Racing car of Yan Chuang, who we saw in the wars a few laps ago. A little bit of a spin. Alex Fontana still not quite made his way around Tsai Meng-Tao. But as they come through this back section of the track, the Swiss driver makes it stick. And up now into 9th position. So 3 places made up on that lap alone. Alex Fontana looking to make up for lost time after a very unfortunate time early on in the race. We saw him touring in, perhaps a puncture. But anyway, looking fighting fit now as we look at the man who was behind Alex Fontana in the early portion of the race and now leads the race, Will Bamber, in the D2 Racing Mercedes AMG, with Yves Volt still in 2nd position, 4.1 seconds behind Will Bamber, and Lo Tse-Ho still in 3rd place, another 4 seconds behind. Lo Tse-Ho, his last lap, a 1:51.7, which compares very favorably to the 1:51.4 that Will Bamber set on the last lap, just 0.3 of a second slower. Lo Tse-Ho and his teammate Lin Kang looking good for the 2nd portion of the race, I should think, as we look at the 570 of Dong Liang, just ahead of the 999 car of Wang Hao. That is the battle for 5th position. Dong Liang in 5th, ahead of Wang Hao in 6th place. Wang Hao having a very solid race, started 9th, and now still in 6th position and challenging Dong Liang, who started 10th. So both these drivers made up some good positions in the early laps. And Dong Liang already enjoyed quite a bit of close racing so far this afternoon. Pit window will be opening in just a couple of minutes, and then we'll start to see some of these drivers peeling off into the pit lane to take their mandatory pit stops. I shouldn't think we'll see any tyre changes. We don't normally see anyone changing tyres. It's not mandatory. There's no obligation to do so. We did see a couple of drivers doing so last time out in Sepang, where it's very, very hot, but not quite so warm here today in Ningbo. I shouldn't think any of the tyres will be overheating as we look at the battle between the 619 Aston Martin being driven by Wu Pei and Alex Fontana now looking to make his way past that car. Wu Pei in 8th position, Alex Fontana in 9th. Not quite close enough for a move up the inside there. Alex Fontana flashing his lights, letting Wu Pei know that he's there and that he wants to come through, but Wu Pei under no obligation to let him through. The Chinese driver runs a little wide and Alex Fontana is through at turn 3, the left-hander. So Alex Fontana up now into 8th position, making fairly short work of the rivals around him on the track. We saw him overtake 3 cars on the previous lap, and he's just added another one to his collection now. So Alex Fontana up into 8th position. The 619 car of Wu Pei now down into 9th, but still that's an improvement on 14th place on the grid that he started. So another driver to make up some good places early on in this race here at Ningbo. Alex Fontana lapping some 4.5 seconds quicker than the drivers around him. And next in his sights will be the 51 car of Oscar Lee. And that's quite a long way up the road. Some 18 seconds Oscar Lee was ahead of Wu Pei on the previous lap. So Alex Fontana with some clear air now. And I wonder if we'll see him really putting the hammer down and setting some fast times. And in fact, he's just set the fastest 2nd sector time of the race so far. I wonder if we'll see this as a fastest lap from Alex Fontana now that he's got some clear air that he can really push into. As we look back at the battle between Dong Liang and Wang Hao, Those two still going at it, hammer and tongs. Wang Hao still behind, not found a way through. Good racing between these two. This, again, the battle for 5th position. Wang Hao getting very close as they go through the tight left-hander, but Dong Liang still unbowed, and the pit window is now open. We haven't seen anybody coming in yet, but I wonder if they will start to do so on this lap. As Dong Liang and Wang Hao still going at it. There we see the first of the pit stops. That is the 49 car of Tsai Meng-Tao, who's had a very eventful first portion of the race, leading the first few corners. And he's handing over to his teammate Charlie Fagg, the British driver who has a lot of professional GT experience behind him. There we see the 868 car. That is the McLaren of Lei Ke and Luo Kailuo. We haven't seen a lot of them so far in this race. They started in 8th place, now down in 14th, but Lei Ke now handing over to his teammate Luo for the second portion of the race. Now that is one of the Phantom Pro Racing cars. Can't quite see which one it is. It is the number 3, so that is Yan Chuang handing over to Yang Shi, and that car was in 12th position. And Yang Shi leading that car out for the second portion of the race. You see the Ginetta in the background there. That's Kenny Chung. He's coming for his pit stop, and he will hand over to Senan Fielding, the professional Ginetta driver from the United Kingdom. So I wonder if we'll see that Ginetta making a few places as the two Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes just getting a little bit too close for comfort there. The number 6 car just going up the inside there. The number 6 car, that is Rainy He and Sunny Wong. Rainy He still driving that car, not come in for his pit stop yet, so putting 1 lap on his teammate, the number 3 car. The race order may be a bit topsy-turvy for the next couple of laps because all these cars coming in for their tyre stops at different times. So once the dust settles and once the pit window closes, we'll have a much clearer idea of exactly where everybody is in the race. But there is the race leader still, Will Bamber. He's still not come in for his tyre change. Yves Volt in 2nd place, not come in for his either. It looks as if those two are going to go a little bit deeper into the race. The pit window is still open for another 6 or 7 minutes. So Will Bamber can probably put in another couple of laps or so as Lo Tse Ho comes in for his mandatory pit stop, and he will hand over to Ling Kang, the pro driver in that driver pairing. Lo Tse Ho, a very solid first stint of the race. I should think Ling Kang will be very happy with his co-driver, with the performance so far. Lo Tse Ho coming in 3rd place, and he's given Ling Kang a very good platform to work from. You can see there the gull wing style windscreen, a very unusual, very striking design. No doors on this KTM crossbow. You can see the roll cage there, and that's to protect the driver and to protect the structure of the car as well. Give it a bit more stability as they go racing at very high speeds. As one of the BMWs comes in as well, and we wait now for the 86 KTM of Ling Kang to rejoin the race. That is the 570 car of Dong Liang coming in for his stop. Now, of course, he's got no teammate, so he just has to sit there twiddling his thumbs for his allotted time before he then goes out to attack the second portion of this race. Wang Hao, who he was having a very good battle with in the early part of the race, you just see there at the front of the pit lane, he's coming for his stop as we look at Ling Kang in the KTM coming out for the second portion of the race. 30 minutes elapsed now, and with half the race gone, there is still half the race to go as the 619 Aston Martin comes in, and that is Wu Pei, and he will hand over to his teammate Zhang Fang Xuan. Wu Pei there hops out, and you can see the seats being taken out as well. Each driver has his own racing seat molded to his own body and specification. When you're driving these cars at very high speed, You don't want to be sitting in a seat that doesn't fit you. You can see the car there, the mechanic just helping Zhang Fangchuan strap himself in. And the 619 Aston Martin leaves the pit lane, and Zhang Fangchuan out to attack the second portion of this race. We're well into the second half of the race now. Will Bamba still leading, Yves Volt still in second place. Those two drivers not having made their pit stops just yet. As Zhang Fangchuan rejoins the circuit, just ahead of the number 3 Mercedes, now driven by Yang Shi. And that is the number 6 car of He Xiaole and Sunny Wong, still in third place. He Xiaole, or Rainy He, as he's also known, not come into the pits yet, and still in third place. There is your race leader, Will Bamba, in the D2 Racing Mercedes AMG. Not come in for his stop yet. I wonder if he'll come in at the end of this lap. There are still 3.5 minutes of the pit window, so he may come in at the end of this lap, or he may have enough time to come in. No, he's going round again. So Will Bamba trying to eke out as much time in that car as he possibly can, kicking up a bit of dust and trying to give his teammate Liao Yang as much of an advantage as possible before he hands over to him for the second portion of the race. I should think he'll be coming in at the end of this lap. But Will Bamba really putting the hammer down now. 151.6, that last lap of his. Yves Volt in second place at 152.3, so the gap now up to 8 seconds. You can see in your picture visually there, Yves Volt just coming through in the background. You can see how much more of a lead Will Bamba has pulled out over the last few laps. Yves Volt will be handing over to David Pun when he comes in for his stop again, probably at the end of this lap, but we'll have to wait and see. As Will Bamba brakes hard and negotiates the left-hander, you can see when the car's coming directly at the camera just how they dip. The front of the car dips down as they brake hard, and here comes into the pits. That is one of the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes. Can't quite see the number just yet. And that is the number, that's the number 6 car of Rainy He and Sunny Wong. So Rainy He coming in, and Sunny Wong, the Hong Kong driver, taking his place for the second portion of the race. Being strapped in with help from the mechanics there. And Sunny Wong, the Hong Kong driver, will be taking over the stint for the second portion of this race. Will Bamba still pounding around. 26.5 minutes to go, and Will Bamba now finally comes in for his mandatory pit stop. 75 seconds Will Bamba is obliged to be stationary for. There you see the New Zealand driver just coming out, and Liao Yang coming in. Will Bamba helping him with his straps, helping him get settled in the car. 75 seconds that car has to be stationary for. It seems like an eternity when you're just sitting there and you can hear and see all the other cars pounding around the track. But each of these cars has a specific time they have to adhere to, that they have to be stationary in the pit lane for, and that time is dependent on the grading of the driver pairing. So Will Bamba, as a pro driver, and his teammate Liao Yang having to be stationary for 75 seconds, as do Ling Kang and Lo Tseho, Alex Fontana and Chris Chia, and Yves Volt and David Pun, and Charlie Fag and Tsai Meng Tao, all stationary for 75 seconds. By contrast, some of the amateur driver pairings, like Oscar Lee and Yun Hao Yao, only stationary for 53 seconds. So the shorter pit stop time, in theory, helps offset the perceived difference in ability of the drivers, as the number 5 car of Alex Fontana comes in. That car now in third position, Alex Fontana having waited until the very last possible moment before making his pit stop, because the pit window is now closed. 25 minutes of the race to go, so Alex Fontana really cutting that very fine indeed, clearly trying to make up as much time as possible before coming in and changing to Chris Chia. after that very unfortunate incident early on in the race where you saw the car touring around very slowly indeed. We didn't see what happened, but perhaps a puncture of some description, because that car has certainly been going very quickly indeed ever since Alex Fontana emerged from the pit lane. Of course, coming into the pit lane early, he came in outside the pit window, so they still have to do this mandatory pit stop. Every car has to come in during the pit window that opens at 25 minutes and closes at 35 minutes. You can see the clock at the top of your picture now, 24 minutes to go. So that means the pit window is closed. And now it's a sprint to the finish. And Liao Yang there in the 22 D2 Racing Mercedes in the lead, as Chris Cheer comes out of the pits to rejoin the circuit. We'll have to wait maybe for another lap just to see exactly where Chris Cheer and everybody have filed back into the race and what position they're in. But certainly in the lead is this man, Liao Yang, in the D2 Racing Mercedes. Coming through to start another lap, 23.5 minutes still to go. Liao Yang, another driver to kick up a little bit of dust on the exit of turn 22 as he comes through to complete lap 19. In second position, still the 618 Aston Martin. And the 618 Aston Martin right up behind. That is David Pun now driving that car. So David Pun looking to make up for lost time. In fact, that is David Pun, my apologies, but the car behind the 22 of Liao Yang, the other Aston Martin, that he must have just put a lap on. But there is the second place man, David Pun, the Chinese driver taking over from the German driver Yves Volt, who drove the first portion of the race. That car in second position, up from 5th on the grid. A good race by Yves Volt, certainly putting the car in good position. There is David Pun, his teammate in the 619 car, Zhang Fangshuan, that you saw earlier. That was the car just behind the 22 of Liao Yang. The number 22 car just put a lap on, but there is David Pun, the second place man. The 868 McLaren behind is one lap down, and that is Luo Kai Luo driving that car at the moment, down in 14th position. There is Liao Yang, the race leader, and 9.3 seconds the gap now between Liao Yang in the lead and David Pun in second position in the 618 Aston Martin. In third place is still the 86 car, the KTM Crossbow, now being driven by Lin Kang. And now let's head down to the pits and hear from some of the drivers.
那么现在在我们身边的呢，就是来自22号的车手 Will Bamber， 然后他们现在的话也是在领先。So Will, what a fantastic first stint. A little bit unfortunate for Alex, but you were really quick, and then your pace was really good. And Peter Liao is obviously very talented. So what are you hoping for this round?
Yeah, obviously a perfect little start there. It was a really shame with Alex there. I was looking forward to seeing how our car was going to come on, because it really did start to come on after he went off, to be honest. So really shame. I'm not sure what happened there, but that was would have been a really nice battle. So hopefully we can continue that tomorrow. So bad luck to them. Yeah, awesome stint for us. Managed to pull a gap there. As I said, our car came on. The D2 guys have been working really hard. Car's performing really well. So now Peter's also taken a huge step this weekend. So hopefully he can hold it together and bring it all home.
Cheers, Will. Good luck. 然后 刚刚 Will 的话也是跟我们说的话，也是非常不幸了。他的本来是第一的车手 Alex Fontana， 可能是车出现了一个问题，但是他的话最后现在是能够拿到第一的位置，并且拉开一个距离，回到的 P 房交给队友廖阳。廖阳的话，这个周末整个表现也是有一个非常大的提升，所以说的话，希望他今天和明天都能有一个这样的好的运气，然后希望今天能够取得一个好的成绩。那么接下来时间我们转回到我们节播间 ，Back to you guys.
Well, Will Bamber, understandably very pleased with his morning's work, putting his teammate Liao Yang into a very good position. Liao Yang still leading the race, 9.3 seconds ahead of the 618 Aston Martin, being driven by David Pun. Nice to hear Will Bamber and his comments about Alex Fontana there, saying that he was looking forward to a good race Obviously, Alex Fontana's unfortunate incident early in the race helped Will Bamber establish a lead, but clearly never nice to see a fellow competitor suffering like that. And let's hope tomorrow's race will bring some closer racing between the likes of Will Bamber and Alex Fontana. As we look at the battle between the number 6 car, now driven by Sonny Wong, and behind him is the 999 BMW of Wang Hao in 5th position. So this is the battle for 4th place. Sonny Wong holding position. And you see yellow flags there and the safety car board. So the safety car is coming out. We haven't seen exactly what happened there, but you see the yellow flags waving, the drivers there. You see the safety car picking up Liao Yang, the race leader. Now, we didn't see what happened there, but the safety car out, so obviously some sort of debris or some hazard on the track somewhere. And the cars now will circulate at a reduced speed behind the safety car, which has picked up the race leader. And there you see the 619 Aston Martin has clearly spun off. That is Zhang Fangxuan driving that car, having taken over from Wu Pei. That car was down in 14th place. And unfortunately for Wu Pei and Zhang Fangxuan, does appear to be its race run. It looks as if it's beached on the curb, very difficult to get rid of from that position. So quite rightly, the race director has decided to deploy the safety car so that that car can be removed safely. The safety car, a very standard feature of motorsport across the world. And those yellow flags also helping the drivers to know that there's a hazard on the track and that they mustn't overtake as the safety car leads the pack round. Now, depending on how long the safety car is out, this should produce some interesting racing in the last few portions of the race. But let's go down now to the pit lane and hear from more of the drivers.
那么现在在我们身边的呢是来自618号车手吴一夫。那刚才的话，他也是驾驶着全新的Aston Martin Vantage 带回，以第2的身份带回。So Eve came back in P2 in the brand new, fresh off the production line Vantage GT4. So tell us how the car feels, and the pace looks good.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was a good stint right now. We started 5th, we were able to go to 2nd. Car's feeling really good. Obviously, we have a safety car now, so maybe everything is getting a bit stressful now. But yeah, car is a good pace. It's the first car in Asia so far, and the car has a lot of potential. It's extremely competitive. So yeah, really happy to be able to drive the car, and let's see how the race goes.
Thank you, Eve, and good luck this weekend. 然后吴一夫刚才也跟我们说呢，今天驾驶的这台全新的2019款的，然后这台 GT4，这台阿斯顿马丁 Vantage 呢，也是亚洲的第1台车，所以说它这辆车的感觉非常的好，也是速度也是非常的快。但是现在的很不幸，虽然说它以第2的成绩带回，现在有一个安全车，所以很多的差距呢都被缩小了。所以说看看今天呢能有一个什么样的表现吧。好的，谢谢。我们转回到我们的解说间 ，over back to the commentators.
Well, Yves Volt there, another driver very happy with his morning's work. His teammate, David Pun, in 2nd position now. And this safety car is going to have a very dramatic effect on the rest of the race, because the 9-second lead that Liao Yang had over David Pun has now been completely neutralized. David Pun, you see there lining up in 2nd position. And this is good news for all those drivers trying to overtake their rivals. Very bad news indeed for Liao Yang, because he had a 9-second lead that's now been completely wiped out. And I should think this would be especially good news for Lin Kang in the red and white KTM crossbow that you see just coming through your picture there. There he is. Now, Lin Kang, as I mentioned earlier in the race, he's the pro driver in that driver pairing, having taken over from Lo Tse-ho. And Liao Yang in the lead and David Pun in 2nd place. Those are the amateur drivers in their driver pairing. So in theory, Lin Kang is the faster driver of the 2 in his pairing. And if he can get past, well, he should be able to get past that back marker that's currently the 3rd car in the train very quickly. He might be able to close very quickly up on the front two. Let's go back to the pit lane now.
那么现在站在我身边的呢是刚才杆位发车的卢思豪，然后也是以第3的位置带回。那么现在的话，其实有安全车的出动来讲的话，对于林康其实也应该也是一个利好的消息吧。
应该算是吧，因为林康比其他的车手都应该要快一段时间，所以说现在安全车之下，他应该保持他自己就可以了。
刚才对自己的圈速的话，其实看着也是在1分51秒到52秒这样之间，还是觉得还是挺好的吧。
还好，就是因为头几圈就是因为一开始的时候就是他们的车马力比较大，然后在直线上面我们挡不住，然后后来我就稳住自己，然后就做自己的圈速一直保持，没有做过分的一直扑上去嘛，所以就保持好轮胎就给林康，然后所以说现在的优势还是有的。
好，谢谢思豪。So Teho just told me that obviously with the safety car coming out, there might be a little bit of advantage because Lin Kang is a pro driver starting the second stint, competing against a lot of the gentleman drivers. So it should be good news. And with his first stint, he's pretty happy with his first stint, keeping up his pace, and there was a pretty good pace as well in the KTM Crossbow GT4. And in the start, he was out-dragged by quite a lot of the other cars with a little bit more power. But in the end, he was pretty happy to come back with the P3. And managing to sort of keep his tire in good condition. 好的，那谢谢思豪。那么接下来时间我们转回到我们的解播间 ，back to our commentators.
And as you can see, we're back racing now, and some very interesting racing indeed. Liao Yang still in the lead, and that car behind him, the 868 McLaren, is in a rather curious position because it's 1 lap down. So that is not your second place man. That is the car down in 13th position. But that car now being driven by Luo Kailuo, he is the pro driver. So paradoxically, he's actually, in theory, quicker than a lot of the other cars around him, which is why you see that car still very much on the pace. And I wonder if he might think about unlapping himself and trying to get by Liao Yang. But his presence in that train, the second car in that train, is bad news for David Pun and Lin Kang, who are fighting for position. They are second and third. But they're finding it difficult to get by this 868 McLaren, which is actually running very well now. And they can't get by that McLaren to then have a go at Liao Yang for the lead. So this is a rather strange situation. You see the cars there all racing line astern. Obviously, Liao Yang in the lead, and then the 868 McLaren, that's down in 13th place, 1 lap down. The third car in the train is the 618 Aston Martin. That's in second position. And the fourth car in that train is Lin Kang in the 86 KTM. All very close together, but they can't get through. And Lin Kang just having a little look up the inside there, but no way through in this very tight section of the track. Liao Yang still in the lead, but not pulling away from the 868 McLaren. I wonder if he might have half a mind to just let that McLaren by so he can concentrate on his own race. You can see the McLaren having a look up the inside now and not going up the inside. Well, Liao Yang is under no obligation to let the McLaren through. The McLaren is 1 lap down. It's not as if the McLaren is the one looking to put a lap on Liao Yang, in which case he would be obliged to move over. You'd see those marshals waving the blue flags, which are there to tell a backmarker to move over because one of the leaders is coming by. But a very curious situation we have here at Ningbo with 10 minutes of the race still to go. Liao Yang still in the lead. David Pun in second place, and the KTM of Lin Kang looking up the inside, but difficult to pass. That KTM handling very well in the tight, twisty sections of the track, but usually gives best to cars like the Aston Martin on the long straights. But of course, it is very difficult to pass on the twisty section of the track. As the cars come round to complete lap 25, Liao Yang still in the lead. The 618 Aston Martin of David Pun in second place, and Lin Kang in the 86 KTM in third place. But then spoiling the party somewhat is the 868 McLaren there that you see in 13th place, 1 lap down. Still in that sandwich between the first place man Liao Yang and the second place man, David Pun. The KTM again, Lin Kang having a look up the inside, but again, David Pun shuts the door, no way through. Liao Yang still in the lead, the McLaren still circulating in the middle of that sandwich there. Liao Yang's last lap, a 1 minute 54.3, so that is some 3 seconds slower than Will Bamber managed when he was in that car. So you can see there the difference between the pro drivers and the gentleman drivers. Obviously the pro drivers who do this for a living are likely to be quicker than the gentleman drivers for whom this is more of a hobby. Further down the field, some interesting racing for 7th and 8th position, as we see Liao Yang going a little wide there, but nobody able to take advantage. And with Liao Yang at the head of this train, lapping in 1 minute 54, this is good news for the 55 Ginetta of Senan Fielding that you just saw going through your picture there. Currently in 8th position, but Senan Fielding, the pro driver, is lapping quite a bit quicker than those cars, the train of 6 cars that you see there. Senan Fielding, his last lap, a 1:51.6. The number 55 Ginetta up into 6th position now as the 868 McLaren unlapping itself, and Liao Yang caught a little bit napping there, and I wonder if David Pun fancied a little look, but he himself compromised his corner exit slightly, and he's now being challenged by Lin Kang for 3rd place. So fantastic racing in the last stages of this round 3 of the GT4 category here at Ningbo. The 2019 China GT Championship, Liao Yang still in the lead, and that 868 McLaren of Luo Kailuo now having unlapped himself. So it's a straight fight now, and you can see there, Lin Kang has got past into 2nd position. So Lin Kang into 2nd position, and there we see the number 6 car of Sunny Wong in 3rd place, and he's being challenged now and being taken, is he? Yes, by the 999 car of Wang Hao. So Wang Hao up into 3rd position now. Wang Hao up into 3rd place. And Sunny Wong there being overtaken, and that is one of the Aston Martins. I didn't see which one, as Lin Kang has a look up the inside of Liao Yang. Remember, Lin Kang, the pro driver, now battling out with Liao Yang, the gentleman driver. So Lin Kang, this safety car period really worked in his favor. You can see there, you can see the blue flags. Now that's waving at the 868 McLaren, but given that the McLaren was quick enough to get past and unlap himself, I shouldn't think he'll be too troubled by that, as the leading 2 going bumper to bumper as they go through to start lap 28. Liao Yang still in the lead, and a car spinning in the background. That was one of the Mercedes, and the BMW into the barrier. So, drama here in the latter stages of the race. That is the Mercedes of Sunny Wong, and he's got going again. But the car there, the number 51 car, that is of Yuan Hao Yao, beached in the middle of the track. I should think that might be another safety car. Here we see, let's see if we can see what happened again. And Sunny Wong just appeared to lose it. Senan Fielding taking avoiding action on the grass. He keeps going, but Oscar Lee onto the grass and then losing control of his car and into the pit wall. And that's going to be a bit of a hefty rebuild for later on this weekend. Safety car quite rightly coming out again. And I wonder if that will be that. You can see the clock ticking down, just over 5 minutes to go. The safety car just being scrambled there. And that will pick up the cars as they come through again. And Oscar Lee's BMW very firmly beached on the pit straight there. There we see, that is Yuan Hao Yao. Perfectly all right, that's good to see. Just hopping over the barrier back into the pit lane. But that BMW is going to need a hefty rebuild for tomorrow's race. Bitter disappointment for Oscar Lee and Yuan Hao Yao. They've been racing very competitively in the early stages of that race, but now a very sorry sight. That BMW with its front end rather crumpled against the barriers. There is Yuan Hao Yao shaking his head, very disappointed, but perfectly all right, and that is good to see. Obviously very disappointed. Not much he could have done about that. There you see him having an awful lot to say in sign language about what might have happened. And you can see the hands device there that goes around his head and shoulders that attaches to the helmet, and that is a safety device to prevent the driver's head from moving too quickly. There you see Oscar Lee coming around to commiserate with his teammate. Obviously not his fault there. Four minutes to go in this race, the safety car out. And it looks as if that might be that for this race. You see there the 86 McLaren, and just being waved through there as the safety car picks up the train of cars. The clock's still ticking on this race. As the cars all now line astern, all having bunched up. And that is the lead car of Liao Yang, who has overtaken the safety car, which I'm surprised to see. The safety car appears to be picking up the 86 car of Lin Kang and Lo Tse-ho. And there you see, yes, I think Liao Yang realizes his mistake and is waiting to pick up the rest of the field. There he goes. Liao Yang will assume the lead. The safety car, the lights are still on, still flashing on the safety car, so it's not coming in this time round. And I was talking earlier about the pit stop times. Each of these cars has to stop for a mandatory allotted time, and the 618 Aston Martin has been hit with a 60-second time penalty for insufficient pit stop time. So that is the 618 car of Yves Volt and David Pun. And a few laps ago, we saw, well, we didn't see that car in second position, and I wonder if that car came in to serve a penalty. The timing screens have the 618 Aston Martin now languishing down in 11th place. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen there, in 11th place, the 618 car of Yves Volt and David Pun, as Senan Fielding steps out of his car. And we saw him running wide, trying to avoid Sonny Wong's spinning Mercedes on the pit straight. There you see the British driver, he's parked up. You can see a lot of grass on the front of that Ginetta, and I wonder if perhaps he's got some grass in the air intake, perhaps his car is overheated. But let's hear now from the pit lane.
那么现在在我们身边的呢是来自51号的 FIS Team AAI 的姚元浩。那么元浩的话，刚才也是发生了一个事故，能不能从您的角度给我们介绍一下，讲一下当时发生了什么呢？
因为刚刚safety car 出来，然后车辆跟得很紧。 然后刚才在最后一弯的时候啊，因为前面有一台宾士 AMG 打滑，然后我跟着他打滑之后，距离太近了，所以我怕从他的后面撞上去，从他侧身撞去，刚好撞到他的驾驶座，我怕会有危险，所以我闪到草地上。然后因为进弯的时候速度太快，所以因为1号弯进来的时候大家都是全油门高速弯，所以刚好闪进了草皮。 所以从草皮那个地方开始打滑到出来，撞到直线赛道的左墙，非常的难过，非常难过。
的确是非常遗憾啊。好，谢谢元浩。
谢谢你。
谢谢。So Yuan Hao just told us because the safety car really bunched up all the cars, so he was really close to the Mercedes AMG ahead of him, and the AMG spun, and he was trying to take avoiding actions, but went onto the grass on high speed and spun and hit the wall in the end. So very unfortunate for the number 51. 好 ，So back to you guys, commentators. 好，现在转回到我们的解播间。
Yes, bitter disappointment from Yuan Hao Yao. There we see a replay of what happened. Sonny Wong spins. You can see Senan Fielding taking avoiding action, but Yuan Hao Yao unable to keep control of his car on the grass, and that car ends up in a crumpled heap on the pit wall. Sunny Wong, for his part, he manages to get going again. But in the meantime, the checkered flag has now been shown. So the race finishing behind the safety car. Disappointing, not what we wanted to see. But very good news that everyone involved is perfectly all right. We saw Yuan Hao Yao just now. Perfectly all right, but very disappointed. So that means to say that the winner of the race was Will Bamba and Liao Yang. In second place, Lin Kang and Lo Ziho. And up into third place, after all that, Wang Hao. So a very good result indeed for Wang Hao. Starting from 9th on the grid, we saw him battle his way up. So Wang Hao in third place, and he is the winner of the Am category. So the category for drivers without a pro driver in the pairing. Wang Hao takes the win in that category. In fourth place on the road and second in the Am category, it's the 570 of Dong Liang, another driver who had a very good race, lots of exciting action. Fifth place is the number 5 Mercedes of Alex Fontana and Chris Chia. So that car salvaging fifth place after a difficult opening stint where we saw the car going very slowly indeed. In sixth place, the number 49 McLaren of Charlie Fagg and Simon Tao, another car with a very eventful race, having taken the lead from 7th on the grid with a lightning start, and then back slowing down, gradually falling down the grid, but salvaging 6th place at the end. In 7th place, the 87 car of Liu Kai and Wei Tianyi. As you see Will Bamba there, congratulating Liao Yang. Perhaps not the manner in which they would have wanted to win the race, what with Alex Fontana having that unfortunate period in the start of the race, and then obviously the safety car at the end preventing a last lap dash to the finish. But Will Bamba and Liao Yang very, very happy with their morning's work. They take the win in GT4 category, round 3 of the 2019 China GT Championship. Liao Yang there, you can see the hands device just draping around his shoulders as well. That's mandatory. All the drivers have that. In second place, Lin Kang and Lo Ziho. So Lin Kang will be very disappointed, I would think, by the safety car at the end of the race there. He was very, very close to Liao Yang, but hadn't quite made the move. And then when the safety car came out, that put paid to any chance of him challenging for the lead in the closing laps. And let's go back down to the pit lane now.
恭喜我们今天获得第3回合 GT4 组别的冠军的廖阳和 Will Bamba。然后廖阳的话，首先我们从你开始吧。今天的第2棒，然后其实也是非常的惊险，虽然有2个安全车，其实最后节奏有没有被打乱？
毕竟第一次上第1名，所以稍微有点紧张。然后由于前方的车辆故障，所以导致说有没有一部分的就是可以去加强这样子。
So he's very happy to take P1 today, and with the safety car, and it was a very bunched up field and it was very highly competitive. Will, so congratulations, first win of the 2019 season.
Yeah, it's really cool to finally get a win in China GT this year, second round. So team have been working really hard, and it's really cool to get our first win together. Peter's been doing an awesome job. I think this race here proves, how much he's progressing. Really kept a cool head whilst leading the race. First stint went really well, managed to pull a gap. It's a shame about the Phantom car. Would have been nice to have a good battle with Alex there. So yeah, looking forward to continuing on tomorrow.
Cheers, Will. 然后 Will 刚才也跟我们说的话，非常开心能够和廖阳和 D2 车队一起拿到今年赛季的第1个胜利。然后廖阳的话，这个表现也是非常非常强劲，整个周末一直都是有非常长足的进步。然后很遗憾，然后对手 Alex Fontana 的车有出了问题，其实非常期待能够和他有一个对决。所以整体来讲的话，这个周末也是非常的开心。好，现在我们转回到我们的解说间 ，Back to you guys.
Well, nice to hear Will Bamba's kind words for his teammate, Liao Yang. Liao Yang, obviously the gentleman driver in that driver pairing, and he certainly had to withstand a lot of pressure in the latter portion of that race, with the 2 safety car periods, and with that car leading the field around. That pack will have bunched up very tightly indeed, as you saw behind, and Liao Yang certainly did a very good job to keep a cool head and win the race. Let's hear back from the pit lane.
那么恭喜今天获得亚军的来自86号的 Extreme Motorsports 的林康。然后林康的话，第2棒的话，其实本来的话，其实离前面的廖阳其实很近，但是很遗憾，由于3圈车，然后没有办法去超车，是吧？
其实本来以为今天的比赛比较简单，但是我们在第3圈车的时候压到了碎片，然后左后胎有点漏气，所以2圈车结束以后没有速度，所以很遗憾没有拿到这个冠军。
好，谢谢林康。So Lin Kang just said that he ran into a bit of a debris on the track, so he had a bit of a slow puncture on his rear left. That's why he didn't have the pace to take the challenge to Peter Liao today. So unfortunately, I'm missing out on the winning P1. 好，接下来我们时间回到转播间 ，back to our commentators.
Well, Lin Kang, another driver who will have suffered a bit with that late race safety car, not being able to attack Liao Yang. As we look at the provisional race results there, you see in first place Will Bamber and Liao Yang, in second place Lin Kang and Lo Ziho, in third place Wang Hao, in fourth place Dong Liang, in fifth place Alex Fontana and Chris Chia, sixth is Charlie Fag and Tsai Meng Tao. In 7th position, the 87 car of Liu Kai and Wei Tianyi. In 8th position, it's the second Phantom Pro racing car of Rainy He and Sunny Wong, who had that dramatic spin, which caused the collision that brought out that late race safety car. 9th, the third Phantom Pro racing entry, the number 3 car of Yang Shi and Yang Chuan. And in 10th position, after that 60-second penalty for insufficient pit stop time, Yves Volt and David Pun down in 10th position. Rounding out the grid, in 11th place, the 868 McLaren of Lei Ke and Luo Kai Luo that got very involved in that last lap battle after the safety car period had bunched the pack up and got stuck in the middle of the pack. 12th position, the 55 Ginetta of Senan Fielding and Kenny Chung that we saw just pulling off on the last lap there. 13th place, the 51 car of Oscar Lee and Yuan Hao Yao, that car that we saw in the pit wall. Very disappointing for those two drivers. And the 619 Aston Martin and the number 4 car not finishing the race. Here we see some highlights of the first race, and there you see that lightning start from the number 49 McLaren, going all the way from 7th position on the grid. There you see it, pulling out on the right-hand side there, taking Lo Ziho in pole position somewhat by surprise. Lo Ziho down to 4th place at the first corner, and that McLaren taking the lead for the first few corners before Alex Fontana in the Mercedes was able to overtake. There you see the Swiss driver having assumed the lead, and then Will Bamber taking 2nd position, going up the inside. Further down the field, Dong Liang going past there, and that was the moment where Alex Fontana, you can see smoke from the front left of his car. That looks like some sort of puncture. But then we had all the mandatory pit stops coming in. The drivers and then their co-drivers coming out for the second portion of the race. That was the incident that brought out the first safety car, the 619 Aston Martin, who failed to finish. And that helped bunch the pack up. Then when we went green, Will Bamber's teammate Liao Yang in the lead there. And then the McLaren really shaking things up as we saw Yuan Hao Yao going into the wall there after Sunny Wong spun his Mercedes. Yuan Hao Yao very disappointed. What could I do, he says. Absolutely nothing. Commiserations from Yuan Hao Yao's team. Very little that he could have done about that. And unfortunately, His BMW beached on the pit lane meant that we finished the race behind the safety car, and there are your race winners, Will Bamber and Liao Yang, as we now go to the podium ceremony for GT4 category of round 3 of the 2019 China GT season. All the drivers there ready to come out. And a very good morning's work indeed, particularly by Will Bamber and Liao Yang, the race winners. Liao Yang in particular doing a very good job to keep a very cool head. He had to deal with an awful lot of pressure in the last portion of that race with 2 safety car periods, helping to bunch the pack up, and he certainly did well to keep his head, keep the lead, and win the race. You saw at the end there how happy Will Bamber was with his young teammate, talking about how much his driving has improved, and he certainly held his own there. Second place will be Lo Ziho and Lin Kang. Lin Kang there we heard from talking about a slow puncture in the last portion of the race that meant that he wasn't able to challenge fully for the win. And that first safety car period would have been very good news for Lin Kang, because it closed the pack up and would have given him a real shot at victory. But unfortunately, the second safety car, which took the race to the end, put paid to any chance of Lin Kang overtaking Liao Yang for the lead of the race. There you see the marshals clearing away the debris. That looks like a very low-tech solution with those brooms, but sometimes that is often the best way of clearing a lot of debris, a lot of shards of carbon fiber and bodywork off the track in a very short space of time. We've got the GT3, GTC and single make trophy race later on today, so very important that that track is race-worthy in the afternoon. You just saw there, going through the back of the picture there, the digger taking away the stricken Aston Martin, and that was the car that brought out the first safety car period, that car being beached on lap 19. But after 30 laps, or 29 laps of racing, it's Will Bamber and Liao Yang who emerge victorious. And the drivers set to come out on the podium now and enjoy their moment in the sun. Quite literally, it's a lovely day here in Ningbo. Certainly no danger of any of the rain, which sometimes hits this part of the world quite hard indeed. When it does rain here, it really rains very hard indeed. And I've been told
大家好，我们现在为您进行的是2019赛季中国超级跑车锦标赛宁波站 GT4 组第1回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of GT4 Class at the Round 1 of China GT Championship 2019 in Ningbo. 首先，让我们有请本场的冠军车队，来自于 Extreme Motorsport。有请本场第3名车手组合，来自于 Team Master Champ 王浩。The second runner-up goes to Team Master Champ 王浩。有请本场的第2名车手组合，来自于 Extreme Motorsport 林康和卢思豪。The runner-up goes to from Extreme Motorsport 林康 and 卢思豪。有请本场的冠军车手组合，来自于 D2 车队 Will Bamber 和廖阳。The champion runner-up goes to from D2 Will Bamber and 廖阳。有请我们的颁奖嘉宾，来自于中国汽车摩托车运动联合会专职副主席何建东先生。Let's welcome our passenger to Edward Top 3 Place getters, Mr. He Jiandong. 好的，请我们颁奖嘉宾留在台前，与我们的获奖车手合影留念。好，谢谢我们的颁奖嘉宾。那么接下来留给我们车手的是香槟的时间。Now is the champagne time。
除了刚才提到全场冠军之外，我们还将会有 Pro AM 组别以及 AM 组别的这样一些颁奖。那为了获奖的区别呢，会是由车手的组合来决定。然后呢，大家刚才看到的威尔班的是 Pro 级别的参赛者，那要让这个2的新手，那他们会被分在 Pro AM 的这个次分。像王浩和我们的没有单独驾驶的 AM 的新手将会被分在 AM 组别。那包括2个分数车的中驾驶，比如说89和95，那他们也会是被分在 AM 的这一个组别里面。那在这样的细分组别里面，也会有一个颁奖。所有不同的车手能够去参与到前来GT的竞争当中。
那么接下来我们将为您颁发的是2019赛季中国超级跑车锦标赛宁波站第1回合 GT4 Pro AM 组的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of GT4 Class, GT4 Pro AM Class at the Round 1 of China GT Championship in Ningbo。有请我们的本场第3名车手组合，来自于 Podium Pro Racing Alex Fontana 和谢安。The second runner-up goes to from Podium Pro Racing Alex Fontana and Chris Chow。有请本场第2名车手组合，来自于 Extreme Motorsport 林康和卢思豪。The runner-up goes to from Extreme Motorsport 林康 and 卢思豪。有请本场的冠军车手组合，来自于 D2 车队 One Bamber 和廖阳。The champion goes to from D2 One Bamber and 廖阳。好，有请我们的颁奖嘉宾，来自于金港股份高级副总裁冯欣欣女士。Let's welcome our president to Edward Top 3 Place Getters from Senior Vice President of Golden Post Enterprises, Mr. Maggie Fong。好，请我们颁奖嘉宾留在台前，与我们的获奖车手合影留念。 谢谢我们的颁奖嘉宾，也恭喜我们的获奖车手。那么现在留给我们车手的是香槟的时间 ，Now is champagne time。
这个组别他们是排在第3的位置，那这也意味着，其实，在全场第3、第4位置的2台赛车都是 AM 组别的车手。那刚才我们看到全场第3的999号的王浩，其实他是 AM 组别的冠军。那刚才我们其实也在颁奖的后场里面看到570号赛车的董亮，重新回到 China GT 竞争里面的 The Winning Team 车队。那董亮是独自驾驶迈凯伦的 GT4 赛车拿到了 AM 组别第2的位置，同时也是全场第4。那我们看一下，在 AM 组别拿到 AM 组别第3位置的是 Extreme Motorsport 车队的87号刘凯和魏天一。那这个也是在 GT4 组别里面 AM 组的一个最终的排名。
将为您继续颁发的是2019赛季 China GT 中国超级跑车锦标赛宁波站第1回合 GT4 绅士组的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of GT4 Pro AM Class at the Round 1 of China GT Championship in Ningbo。有请我们的本场的第3名车手组合，来自于 Extreme Motorsport 刘凯和魏天一。The second runner-up goes to from Extreme Motorsport, Liu Kai and Wei Tianyi。有请本场的第2名车手组合，来自于 The Winning Team 董亮。The runner-up goes to from the Winning Team 董亮。有请本场的冠军车手组合，来自于 Team Master Champ 王浩。The champion goes to Team from Team Master Champ 王浩。有请我们的颁奖嘉宾，来自于懂车帝形象大使王开。Let's welcome our president to the Edward Top Straight Place Caters, a major ambassador of the car, Miss Nico。好的，请我们的颁奖嘉宾留在台前，与我们的获奖车手合影留念。好的，谢谢我们的颁奖嘉宾，恭喜我们的获奖车手。那现在留给我们车手的是香槟的时间 ，Now is the champagne time。
GT4 组别的整个竞争真的是非常的激烈，所以我们也更加的期待，在今天下午和明天还有另外3回合的比赛。我相信在宁波这条赛道，所有的车手们都应该是想要在回国的这第1场比赛里面，给我们带来非常不错的一个表现。